Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge, and we're live with Liverpool's Barcola signing. Biggest signing of the summer for Liverpool, one of the biggest of the Premier League and one of the biggest in Europe. It probably isn't a surprise, but I suppose with these sorts of deals, Liverpool fans, and we're getting close towards the end of the window, you start to think, what could go wrong? Certainly, Guéhi to Liverpool was meant to happen right at the end of the window a year ago, and it didn't, and it fell through. So, look, Liverpool fans, until you see that here we go and the Ornstein bomber, you're probably a little bit concerned, but as a neutral, I think it was always going to happen. David Ornstein, Liverpool reach agreement in principle on terms of deal to sign Barcola from PSG. That's around 100 million fixed. Romano, here we go. Agreement done. Initial fee, 100 million plus add-ons, up to 140 million euros possible in the package. Documents to be exchanged in the next 24 hours. Liverpool get their top target, never in doubt, and now it's been done. I think this is a great signing. I've just come over from the United stand, actually, and when you look at Rodri leaving Manchester City and they're spending 115 million on Anderson, 100 million euros on Boadi, probably over 100 million on Enzo Fernandez. Liverpool, Salah goes 100 million on Barcola. Man United, Casemiro goes plan D, C, under 50 million, some of the players that we're bringing in. So I know there is, I think Carragher's been a bit unsure about Barcola. I don't know whether it's because he doesn't think he can play off the right, etc. But in the market, what's available, there's probably only two players you could go for. I think Elise would be the head and shoulders right-sided player to replace Salah. You're not going to get him. And even if you had a chance, it would be 150 and he'd probably go to Real Madrid. So beyond Elise, replacing Mo Salah, in my opinion, always had to be, well, what Salah was when you brought him in. I mean, Salah wasn't the best player in the world when you brought him in from Roma. He was a potentially decent player that nobody else really was looking at. He came to Liverpool and became the best player Liverpool, well, certainly the best player Liverpool have had in the last decade and one of the best players the Premier League's ever had. The numbers he was putting in was incredible, but he wasn't that player in Roma. So in Barcola, you can't buy a ready-made Salah replacement, but he has big game experience. He's won 2 Champions Leagues. He's played for France. £100 million in this market, I think, is a good deal. I think Liverpool have done a good deal there. It could go up to 140 million euros, but you'd be happy to pay that if the add-ons are hit. And when Morgan Rogers is going for 117 and Elliot Anderson's going for 115 and Boadi's going for 90, the reputation and pedigree of Barcola at 100 million is decent. I think ultimately they've done a decent deal there. And as wingers, I think most wingers do tend to do well, especially with that sort of.
I don't know about this deal, man. I think it's a good deal for Liverpool, but I don't think it was a good decision for Barcola. I just don't see it. How can you leave a club that there's a possibility you might get a 3P because they might take a Champions League again this season. And you're leaving that for Liverpool. It doesn't make any sense for me, because also I think it wasn't about money, because I think everybody's good at PSG, like in terms of money, everybody's money today. So I don't think it's a good deal for him. Oh, sorry, it's a good decision, not a deal, because 100 million or 140, that's enough, but that's not a good decision. I don't think, but a great decision for Liverpool, but not for him as a player. I just don't see it.
Experience. And as I said, I think it's sort of the best deal Liverpool could have done with what's in the market. I don't think there's many wingers out there that you'd go, well, that's as good as that. Obviously, he's not Mo Salah, he's not Elise, but he's certainly not Sarr or Harvey Barnes or someone like that. I think it's a very intelligent deal by Liverpool. You're going to have to pay big money. It shows ambition. And I think Liverpool's transfer window, whilst it's not been as ambitious or busy as Man City or maybe even Chelsea, that season that Liverpool are about to play out under Iraola is definitely going to be transitional. Now, as part of that transition, you do want to be in the Champions League next year. You do want to be competitive this year. But Liverpool fans are quite switched on that this is the start of something. Iriola comes with a big reputation as a very ambitious but easy on the eye style of football. But you can't expect him to do that straight away. Liverpool struggled a lot last season. They had a very, very bad season. Yeah. Players like this need patience and time, and so does Iriola. And I think they will be given that time in this season. I don't think there's going to be a demand on those players and that manager. I think there will be a demand on people like Isak and Wirtz and Frimpong and Kirkes who need to start delivering. But these new signings and Iriola, I think they've got the time. I like the signing. I don't really get the... I understand the will he play off the right or will he play off the left, but I think with wingers, there is this obsession with inverted wingers, put a left footer on the right and the right foot on the left, but a lot of these wingers can play with both feet, and it doesn't mean he religiously has to play off the left. I think he can play off the right as well. And obviously at PSG, Kvaratskhelia predominantly did play off the left, so it wouldn't be unusual to put Barcola on the right. And I think he also, talking about the player himself, I'd be over the moon if he came to Manchester United. I think Arsenal fans would be happy to have him at Arsenal. I think Chelsea fans would be happy to have him there. I mean, I don't think it's a player where you're looking at it going, "Oh, that's a risk." I think a lot of clubs would be very excited to have him, and I think he's coming to Liverpool to. He wants to play for Liverpool. He's excited to come for Liverpool all summer. His destination is Liverpool. There was never an indication that I might talk to another club. It was always Liverpool. Why? Because at PSG, you have players he was competing with, but at Liverpool, it's the platform to be the guy. It's the platform to be the star.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, maybe I change my perspective now. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, yeah, it's hard to shine when you're already surrounded by so many stars, you know? But it's just gonna show up there and then be the guy, you know? There's already Usman Dembele. There's already Calvasqueria. You know, there's a lot of guys that are just not better than him as footballers, but they are already like established as stars, and you know everybody recognize them. So yeah, when you put it like that, I understand. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's the platform to come and prove yourself, and those types of players who want to come and do that can be very, very powerful. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a guaranteed success, but when you look at the way Iriola plays, and you look at what he's done at PSG, and you look at his hunger to come, you can only go with the ingredients. And sometimes you go with really good ingredients and it doesn't work. But I think that sometimes you buy a player and they're leaving somewhere because they have to leave or whatever. He wants to come to Liverpool. He wants to come and work. He wants to come and prove himself. And in an Iriola system, wingers tend to work. It's very easy to point at Semenyo, but wingers tend to work in an Iriola system. He gets the best out of his wide players. So I think it's a very, very good signing. I don't think the window is closed by any means, and it might not be closed for Liverpool, but it will be a relief for Liverpool to get this deal done. Does he get to play at the weekend? Probably not. And because they are playing Saturday lunchtime, but more importantly, I think the Premier League deadline is 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I doubt that gets done. Does it need to get done? But it gives them a little bit of time to do more business if they want to. And as I said to you on Monday or Tuesday, there is definitely going to be some big deals happening over the next few days, and Liverpool have got their big signing done. And yes, I think Liverpool fans probably wanted a little bit more in their window. And yes, defensively, they do look a little bit vulnerable. But Rome was never going to get built in a day with Liverpool. I can't see Liverpool challenging for the title. But signings like this certainly give them a chance to get better as the season goes on. And maybe a cup. Let's see. Thank you everybody for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a like on the video and subscribe. I like this deal. I think he's a good player. I think it's a good deal for Liverpool. I think it shows ambition. Let's wait and see.
Yeah.